As so the legend is told, rumor has teased a new hero. A hero of duality, where one may walk the path of good or evil, and find his own truth. As one tale ends, so another begins. Doomfist, a true melee hero in Overwatch who is almost guaranteed to be the next playable hero. I say that not even from the recent Terry Crews mock audition.
Play of the game.
Yo, is my mic really loud though, guys? Is my mic over here?
I say that from a pure marketing standpoint, because it would be a colossal failure for Blizzard to disregard all of the community's hype for such an anticipated character, and not to mention how the community would react.
She just loves me, yes, I know.
There are multiple videos on YouTube discussing Doomfist's origin.
Villainous hero Doomfist.
Bill, yeah, I hear he could level a skyscraper.
And every small to skyscraper detail about him. But not many people have made a video purely discussing his possible abilities that could level a sky. I'm stopping. Personally, when even looking at the name Doomfist, it is safe to say that he would not be placed in either support or offense, as Blizzard has recently added Ana and Sombra, making it highly unlikely to add another character into one of those hero pools. Instead, this narrows the options between defense and tanks. And instantly, when regarding the name Doomfist, it's hard to consider a melee-based character in a defensive position, as most tanks in Overwatch are close-ranged. So what I'm saying is he's a tank. Similarly, with most tanks in Overwatch, Doomfist will probably not have many abilities, and will be mainly regarded towards his regular fist attack. These primary attacks will most likely be a regular punch forward, a thrust, or a small stun punch as a left click. Now, going on a small tangent with one of the games that I play on my channel called COD Zombies, there's one map that has an item that is very similar to what I think the Doomfist will be, and it's called the Gauntlet of Siegfried. And this item is really interesting. It's got a little whelp or miniature dragon on top of the glove, and you're either able to punch with it like a little tiny punch, or you can call it out and just use a massive thrustful punch that decimates every single zombie in your path, while the whelp is also shooting fire at the enemies. Now, in an FPS like Overwatch, this might be a bit overpowered, but I could definitely see this and many other examples being incorporated with how Doomfist will play out. And in terms of Doomfist's right click, I would guess that it would probably be a mini ground smash or a slide, which is going to end up being a ranged attack as his secondary weapon. I would imagine that each of these abilities would be quite powerful, and as such would involve heavy cooldown times, and most likely would require the player to know some very particular opportunities on when to use each ability. And in terms of health, I think it would be quite obvious for him to have a majority of his health not necessarily being shield, but being like D.Va's pre-patch, with mostly armor rather than health, as when you look between the Savior, Scourge, and Successor posters in Nubandi, the Doomfist arm looks as it's consuming the user. And I know there are different users, but I feel originally Blizzard wanted to make the Doomfist more of an actual item or a title in the game, as when I think of it, it reminds me of the symbiote in Spider-Man that consumes the user and eventually gains more power as he turns more evil, hence it being kind of contained. Or in the anime Magi, where one can Jin equip with a regular weapon and then let it consume their entire body to make them much more powerful for a short amount of time. I'm such a goddamn weeb. Regardless, I would not be surprised if somehow Doomfist's health would work as an ultimate, where he gains more armor per each kill. This ability could also be inversed to become a passive, where it could gain more speed, or he gains more ability to to slow his enemies down or does more damage for each kill. Again, this could apply when his health is critical, as most momentum-based abilities are given to close-quartered characters in Overwatch, which end up being tanks. In retrospect, most abilities for melee-based characters are already used in Overwatch, such as Reinhardt's Charge, Genji's Swift Strike, Winston's Ultimate Rage, and Ana's Nano Boost, which is why a steady buff or debuffer towards Doomfist or his party for each kill would be a very great asset towards him. The one ability we do know Doomfist will have is a shockwave of sorts, leaving Doomfist to probably become the most prominent knockback hero in the game. I'm sorry, Lucio and Winston, you had your chance.
Brazil is actually not this color.
Needs such an ability because of his own playstyle to either be very speed based, where I believe Lucio could be extremely useful, even more so when Doomfist is implemented in the game, or very Winston like, being able to control most situations. And speaking of controlling the situation, unlike Blizzard's original intention for Sombra to be able to hack things around the map, I think Doomfist will easily be top tank meta and will not be underpowered, even though Blizzard might have wanted Doomfist to be able to do environmental damage and destroy other buildings. Hence the fucking quote. With his Shift and E abilities, like I said, Doomfist will most likely be able to use a movement buff with his Shift, as most Shift abilities in Overwatch revolve around enhanced mobility, and his E either allowing him to control the situation by locking down or fleeing from it. And I'm quite honestly surprised that the community is very intrigued in a character like Doomfist, as I feel in Overwatch, many characters revolve around being very close quartered, and I would think most wouldn't want another melee hero. And as for the ultimate, many people give some crazy suggestions around him stripping his clothes off and yelling, "It's as powerful as me!" I really am stopping, Lord take me. It'll most likely involve a very direct punch of damage, being incredibly useful for knocking others off a payload, for example. In conclusion, to sum up Doomfist's abilities as a one-punch man, I would believe that his primary attack is a simple fist punch, either being a punch or a thrust or a stun. His secondary attack being some type of mini ground smash with a heavy cooldown or a ranged slide attack. His passive being a berserker ability with either gaining a speed buff, health buff, armor buff, or a slow debuff, and his shift and E abilities probably being along the lines of giving him some type of protection abilities, and the ultimate being a grand slam.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
In terms of competitive, I know it seems very dumb to even speculate at this point, but I can very much tell you that Doomfist has a high chance of being a meta character, especially if he has unique ability like a slow debuff on enemies, and I would guarantee most people will still involve themselves within the triple tank meta, especially him being the most likely character to have the least amount of health with the highest amount of armor and the highest amount of But that, guys, is going to be the video. I did hope you enjoy. If you did, please make sure to leave a like. I know this one took a little bit extra time to get out, but I really put in a lot of edits and I was really happy about it. I'm really excited to see if what I said is even 100% wrong or if I'm 100% right. It's really up to chance, but I'm pretty sure I did the best I could. But again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Brave in the Redwoods is the new Call of Duty Zombies map, Infinite Warfare DLC 1, releasing on January 78th, 1947, and it will be releasing the greatest of the man humanity.
Yo, is my mic okay?